just get on camera and improvise? If you have a music video, are you improvising your raps, or you write things out with your songs like Emma does? I think we'll find out. So hopefully the goal will be to give you guys an inside scoop on these top creators, and they'll give you like a little taste of what's it like to make their stuff, which is so awesome. All right, so I came up with some notes, which I emailed everybody last night, but since this is an improv panel, who cares what improv? So.
You're crazy!
I wrote it out!
I did wonder why you were holding napkins.
Not gonna happen fast. Cool. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so all you make amazing stuff. Some of you do scripted stuff, fictional stuff. Some is non-fiction. Some is vlogging. Some is music video. Let's start first with fictional stuff. So with fictional things like a web series.
Physics, right?
It's all about physics. I meant physics, not fiction. So let's talk about like a fictional web series, like, you know, with characters and stuff. Is anyone working on that, and how do you do that? Okay.
We've done stuff like that with our kids, and with my channel I had a series called YouTube the Musical. And what really got, I guess, that started is a heavy pre-production stage and the script writing. And I usually, when I work on series like that, I usually work with a team, because I find that the creative elements are so much better when you have people to bounce it off of. Although there are benefits to just having your own little baby that you want to create yourself, there's so many positive aspects to working with a team, and it makes your content so much better. So we start out writing as a team, and then we produce as a team, and the process is probably a couple months. So for me, it's kind of a longer script writing and pre-production process when it is a series.
So when it's a series and you have an idea, you're like, hey, I got this idea for the show. Or other people will come to the idea like a writer's room, or how does that work?
Yeah, we'll have a writer's room, and which can take as long as your creative energy can handle it. If you think you're ready to go and ready to shoot, it could be a week. If not, if you need to work on it, it could be a month of writing. It just depends on the inspiration. But yeah, and then after that, it's pre-production, and then it's production, and then it's post. It's such a long process, which is why I really like doing the improvised stuff, man on the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Take that from you.
For me personally, with Bereta and Bereta, when we're doing comedy sketch type stuff, what we found was the best process for us is to come at the whole thing with a plan, a foundation, and that foundation is a script. If you know what your idea is going in, it's great. It's going to make the process go a lot smoother and a lot quicker. But when it comes to comedy, you have to be open to idea generation. So we've always been a perfect combination, I find, of script writing and then improvisation along the way. When you're on the set, don't be afraid to play, don't be afraid to have fun. And I think that starts in the writer's room too. You go back and forth, you see what ideas work, you get rid of the ones that don't, you do the same thing on set, and then the writing process doesn't even stop at the editing. The whole thing, you're writing the whole time. Editing is just post-writing, that's all it is. And you have to be open and okay with trying anything and everything from the start to the finish, and that's how you're going to make this little baby that you hopefully don't drop on its head.
Awesome. Okay, so that's web series and things where you basically have to plan some stuff out, but yet be flexible, you're saying, so that's cool. All right, now let's get to the second category, which is what most of our panelists do, which is vlogging and videos where it's basically you talking to the camera. So when you have those types of videos, how much do you plan out what you say in advance? I know that you probably don't have a script, because I don't see you guys looking off the cue cards. So, but how much do you write, what do you write beforehand? Are there key beats or things you want to make sure that you say throughout each video? As long as you hit those beats, then you're good. Or is it completely improv? You just get on camera, tell your camera person, hey, turn it on, let's just go. How do you plan that out?
Tell my camera person my dog. I'll start for this, because I did have cue cards. When I started on YouTube in 2005, I had my cousin standing off the side with gigantic cue cards that I wrote out by hand, and then I realized, oh my god, I have carpal tunnel, this is terrible. So I would type them out, and it would end up being like 18 pages, and he would hold them, and I was always on script. I was never, from 2005 to 2009, I never was off script, and I sit at home and I've got it all written out on my computer screen, and it's, you know, in the size 24 font, and I sit there and I manually scroll it myself, and occasionally I look off to the, and then I occasionally look off to the side and be like, oh, yes, I'm being conversational, but nope, it's all, because I just don't trust, for years didn't trust that I would be funny improvisationally, good word, improvisationally. So I literally was scripted, and that's why it's weird that I meet people like, oh, you're making this up, or you're just vlogging. Like, no, I was telling the Fine Brothers once, I'm like, I write for like 9 hours a day, which is embarrassing. You'd think I'd be funnier. I mean, honestly though, but it's so funny that I would tweak jokes for hours because I do pop culture. I'm talking about the same thing. A lot of times I can't make the same Miley Cyrus joke. I have to come on. So it's weird that's weird how it's changed because I do pop culture and I have to be on top of things. I've had to really modify it that I can't write as much anymore. I don't have time. YouTube won't wait. When I started on YouTube, I would do an American Idol recap on Sunday because American Idol happened like 3 days later. Now it's like you have to do it now. So I mean, literally, I have to improv a lot more and I have to be okay being casual. But the worst is, as someone who likes writing jokes and I want to write jokes, the worst is when you do a casual video and everyone thinks, oh no, this is so much funnier, I love this, because I think, that's not my bag. Like I wouldn't do it. I like to do that maybe once a week, but it doesn't excite me to be off the cuff. Like I like writing jokes and I like trying to deliver them. So it's a struggle in my brain to figure out how to balance being 100% scripted, but being okay, being improvisational too. It's weird. Something that I've struggled with, to be honest.
All right, great answer.
My show is basically half and half. I mean, I do have to sit down and crank out puns, etc. Because I mean, you can't. Listen, guys.
What kind of?
I'm 100 videos in. There's only so. So I sit down and essentially.
Write those down. Someone write those down.
I'm not sponsored. But so if let's say I'm gonna make a drink about Gwyneth Paltrow, I straight up IMDb, write down as many movies as I can. Personal life. I first sit down and think of everything that I know about the subject without having to look it up. So that it's like commonplace knowledge, you know, not like her first indie film. And then I try to crank out about 8 jokes, and then the rest is go, go, go. And Grace Helbig, who I make the show with, is always behind the camera, and so she knows the jokes going in for the most part. So the improv comes in me trying to add and riff to make her laugh. So yeah, it's about what the fuck.
So yes, and Grace was behind the camera, like directing it or giving her advice, or maybe try that one again, and like she had a yellow pad with like 8 puns, and so I mean, I saw it in action. I saw the genius of, oh, it's scripted and planned, but then it's off the cuff, and I couldn't stop laughing because I didn't know what I was like. Are you kidding? Like, I can't even get smelly Grippa. I mean, everything. I'm like, really
Smelly Grippa. Sorry, I'm terrible.
Emma, you have a combination of both vlogs and music videos. The music videos are obviously, I guess, count as scripted because you write the songs out in advance.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure things wrong, like Google Plus. You saw that, Google Plus? Right.
Well, I mean, I kind of think like I'm almost the opposite of Michael. When I first started, for the first like 6 months, I did not go off script. I wrote out every single line of my vlogging videos, and if I missed one word or took the wrong word, instead I just do the whole line again. The thing is, like, if I watch those videos now, sorry, my voice is so gone. If I watch those videos now, I think I look so unnatural and so uncomfortable. So after about maybe about 6 months to a year, I stopped scripting completely. The only thing that I now plan in advance is because I do like the cutaway scenes in vlogging. They're the only parts that I plan ahead thinking, where do I shoot this? Apart from that, I'm always a one-man team. Anything I do in advance is on me. I edit, and there's no one behind the camera that's the problem. I have no one behind the camera to laugh, so I don't know if I'm being funny or not till it's uploaded.
She's usually off drinking somewhere.
Yeah, usually it's honest, fair enough. But now I literally just think I'm gonna make a video about that, and I just turn on the camera and I just go with what comes out. But I have a lot of people saying, oh, I love the fact that you're just so casual, and I'm just like, the key is you just stop caring. You just
go.
You run on no sleep, and and you'll find yourself way more ratty and horrible on camera, so it works out pretty well. But the music videos, like you said, like I had one music video that was directed by my best friend, and he obviously did all the directing and planned it all out for me. I was just there in front of the camera, just going for the whole time, so that was fine. But in terms of like the Google Plus song, I wrote that in 10 minutes before while I was running a bath. So it shows. But I literally, that took about, because I did it in one take, it took like about 30 takes before I didn't mess up, because I wrote it in 10 minutes. But I mean, apart from that, yeah, it's all just off the cuff, turn on the camera, I wonder what I'm going to do. So, I'm doing okay.
Not doing the Michael, no, at the beginning, you had everything scripted out, because you were like, just get started, you want to show everything was, funny and good.
Yeah,
And then as you developed, you're able to just like freestyle.
Where she said she didn't want to look unnatural, that was my point. Like I was not trying to. I wanted to be like, oh, this is awkward. Oh, he thinks he's funny. So I didn't. I was in it to look unnatural. I still am.
All right, so Henry, with your physics videos, they're 1 to 2 minute videos about some physics facts, usually with some animation coming in, or it's always animation, right? Except when you're like dancing in the snow.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So when you have the videos, are you reading off of the script, everything, or are you just kind of like just talking about?
Yeah, I'm
the physics?
entirely 100% scripted, and I spend like half of my time making videos writing, and if not more. It's entirely like I'll write, because I'm trying to take some of these incredibly complicated science and boil it down to like 1.5 minutes. And so I spend a really, really long time trying to figure out how to do that and read off the scripts. And edit it, and then when my improvisation often tends to come in when I'm doing the illustrations and doing the drawings, and then I'll try to add in like little funny jokes or things when I have a line that's like, here's some physics stuff that I want to like make it a little bit more funny or engaging. So that's when like little silly stick figure cats come in.
Right. Okay, cool. And then Joe, for some of the stuff that you are doing, so you have your various projects, and some of them do use the props.
Yeah, over at SourceFed, we do 5 videos a day on one channel, and all based off of the news and stuff. So when it comes to script writing versus improvising, in that sense, I find it's where do you want to spend most of your time to make everybody else's life easier in the process. So the more time you're going to put into your writing, the easier your shoot's going to go, because you're going to know where your beats are, and then when it gets to the editing process, you know what your story is. You don't have to sift through footage of like, what was I doing, what did I say? Do you find the editing is a little bit harder for you now?
Yes.
You're off the cuff, right?
Yes. So I mean, when from 2005 to 2011, I've never done cuts. I did one take, first take. Because I just wanted to. Because I was kind of building myself for TV. I'm not going to cut. I have a start, I have a middle, I have an end. And as much as I enjoyed the jump cuts that I'd see people do, and I get that. That's very YouTube culture. I just didn't want that. I wanted my comedy to be a weird breath or a little look. I didn't want to cut, because then you're telling your audience, oh look, it's a beat, it's funny, and now I don't know. So I never wanted to do cuts. So it's funny that you asked that now, because yes, I'll film an unscripted video and I'll like 18 minutes or 9 minutes of whatever, and I'm trying to splice it up. I'm like, oh.
When you're sitting at the editing.
Right, and that's the way I'd rather spend the time. Like you said, I'd rather spend the time writing than trying to piece this together to make it funny, because I didn't plan ahead. So that's what you're saying.
Exactly. So the more time you put at the more effort that you put at the front of your production, I will say the smoother it can go at the end. But at SourceFed in general, that's where we go in with this set plan, and then we get those words out, we get those takes out, and then you just allow yourself 5-10 minutes to have fun, because that's where you're probably going to find the magic, and that's where you're going to have these beats that people end up falling in love with that you never planned for. But your editors also love you because they've got their foundation. And then when I say editors at SourceFed, that's because we have editors. Other people are editing their own stuff, but you're going to do that for yourself too. Scrubbing through 18 minutes of footage can be hell, but you can turn that 18 minutes down maybe into 5, and then have your magic minutes, like 3 or 4 after that, where you know you found something new. You got to be open to that world. You got to be open to play, especially when you're on a team like yourself. Going back and forth is where you just find this inspiration that you never knew was there from the start. So go in with a plan, have fun, and be malleable. Have fun and be malleable.
To piggyback off of what you're saying, I think one of the best gifts when you improvise are the mistakes. You can find so much funny in the mistakes and riff off of those. How many of you out there are terrified of improvising? Thank you for raising your hands, because it is scary. It is scary, but if you just embrace the mistakes, and that's what's going to be funny, and embrace doing it with people who support you and are going to say yes to whatever you do. That's the exciting thing too, is that people you're doing it with when you improvise are on your team, so you don't feel alone.
Yeah, and that's one of the big tenets of like improv comedy too, right, is to commit to what you're doing. And so like you have to like, once you've done something and you're going in some direction, you need to like, not just kind of come back to what you're planning on, but if you have these crazy like magic moments, you have to like run with it and take it and go as far as it can go until it becomes so stupidly ridiculous that you figure out, okay, now that's enough, we can take it back from there. Because otherwise, you might miss like lots of amazing gold if you don't.
Cool. So this is fascinating how you guys make your stuff. So it sounds like everyone is very good at preparing. You got to prepare. Just some takeaways: prepare, write stuff out, but then plan for random, fun, magic moments too. So as much as you done in advance, and then as things happen randomly, as you improv, let's let it come. Like don't be so scripted that you don't open yourself up to fun stuff that happens as you're shooting.
The fact is you can edit it. I mean, that's the glory of it. Just try it. That's what editing is for. I mean, I'm sure we've all been in a social situation where something happens and you go, this could be a funny joke. No, what if they don't get it? What's awesome is that on camera you edit that out. So try all of it. It's not awkward. No one has to see it. The amount of shit on the cutting room floor
Burn the
online is
footage.
insane. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about improv and magic moments, because I mean, when you do get to the point where you can improv, how do you know how to improv? I mean, it sounds like several of you like learned how to do it over time just from practice, but how do you practice being good at improv? Do you take an improv acting class where, like, at Second City or some of the acting troupes that are in various towns, or you just like move off with your friends, you invite your friends over to hang out, very funny? How do you get good at improv?
I think the best way of getting good at anything is to do it every day. Do it
Practice
as
every
often
day.
as you can, yeah.
Right, good
And I
one.
think we all improvise every day. You all have conversations where you're just off the cuff trying to figure out what you're going to say
Good
next.
morning. What's the weather like?
But great improvising. Great improvising. Weather is great.
Knowing my gag list.
All right, anybody else want to add?
I agree. I think the best thing you can do as an actor or a performer or a human being, even if you have no intention of ever putting yourself on camera or doing stand-up, taking an improv class really helps. It's a great way to learn skills, because Michelle kind of said say yes. Number one rule of improv is say yes. Go with it. So I mean, even if you're not going to do improv or perform, it's a good life skill. Because even what you just said about going with things in life, and Joe said being malleable, that's show business, that's script writing, that's life. So and you learn that when you do improv. Just go with it. Just say yes. Don't negate somebody. Because I mean, when you go to improv, like the first thing you do is the guy says, I'm in the Bahamas, and then your jerky Z partner's like, oh no, it's really cold. You're like, no, I'm in the Bahamas. Go with it. Like just yes. So I mean, these are even improv games you can play with each other when you go back to the hotel room. Say game, there's improv. Go online and just search improv games and play them with friends. I mean, they're good party games. They're good like character building. So I mean, again, if you're even not going to do this, it's good to practice improv. So do that with your friends for fun.
And also, I mean, I definitely encourage taking classes. I started at the People's Improv Theater where I met Grace, and then I did shows and hosted shows at the Upright Citizens Brigade in New York for 5 years. And besides the fact of becoming comfortable and really actually learning a lot of skills, you're also with like-minded people. And so you're gonna, A, make friends, but also if comedy is something that you want to pursue seriously and as a career, you need to be around other comedians. Yeah, they're only going to make you better, because there's the things that are going to make you better at what you do is seeing someone else who's funnier than you and your eyes just lighting with fire and just being like, I must destroy them. Sorry.
You also have to like give yourself a safe space to do it, because you're making yourself vulnerable when you're doing improv, and even like when I'm script writing and I'm trying to make things like kind of funnier, add jokes or things, there's a lot of stuff like you were saying that you can use stuff on the cutting room floor, but you have to be in a safe enough space that you can actually put that out there before it can even be put on the cutting room floor.
So what do you mean a safe space? Like?
So maybe if you have people around you, it's somebody that you're comfortable with, that you have to be able to get yourself able to actually to say that that joke that you thought you should say to your friends, but maybe you're like, oh, I shouldn't say it. And for me it's weird, because when I was writing, it's almost like I have this thing where like once some words are on a page, it's like sacred, and so I had this problem where I wouldn't want to type stuff that if I didn't think was gonna work, because like, oh, once it's there, it's like that's this thing that's like on the page now, and I had to like break that and just be like, okay, no, who cares? Like I'm just gonna type some crap and just go blah 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 and like do like sloppy stuff, basically, and then you can kind of fix in the details later, but it's better to get your thoughts. If you have a thought that's going in a direction, to take it and actually run with it and grab it and see where it takes you.
I totally agree with you. I think all the things we've said about improvising and just doing it really does apply to the writing, because you can get really stuck in, I have this great idea, I need to have it totally, completely thought out before I start, which, I mean, what I'm gonna say goes against every screenwriting book, and like Sid Field would murder me, but like, I personally don't think you need to have it all planned out. You just need to start. Starting it is so much harder for me than finishing it. And I mean, with Camp Dakota, which I co-wrote, we scouted and were building sets before I knew how the movie was going to end. You know, and so you just got to start, or you're not going to be able to ever finish.
It's the age-old phrase of "don't be afraid to fail." And I hate it when it falls out of my mouth, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Everybody says it, and it's okay. And then I add to that is just do. We put this mental block in front of our heads and these ideas. We all have these amazing ideas, but then we have this self-doubt and we don't let them get out. You just got to find that safe space. And you got to throw it out there, because it's going to turn into something great. And if it doesn't, it's okay, because you've got a billion other ideas in there. You just got to go out and play with them. And you just have to start. You just got to get it out.
Yeah, same thing. Whenever I'm at VidCon every year, I'll meet like people who want to be creators, and they say, how do I become a YouTuber? What do I do? And I say the same thing. I just look at them and I say, you just have to do it. You just have to start. Because if you're going to go home and think, oh, I need to come up with a great idea. Oh, I need to come up with a concept. Or, oh, I need to come up with a format, you're never going to do it. So you just have to start making videos. And just, you know, you don't know what's going to catch on. You make a video on Monday and then you just do it again. You don't wait, oh, I need to become a YouTube star. I need to this or that. Do it because you enjoy creating the content. Don't be distracted by, you know, delusions of YouTube fame or all that stuff, because that should come later just because you love doing it. That's everything in life, though. Do you want to be a Kardashian or do you want to be Meryl Streep? I'd rather be Meryl Streep. Life advice. Here all day.
People don't give enough credit to Nike's marketing team.
Just do it.
Yes.
Just do it. Okay, not sponsors.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the audience and take a couple questions, and then we'll continue on with more questions. Yeah, front row. Can you stand up?
Hi, I'm Emma, twins.
What's up?
And I found that when I write scripts for my videos, I get better material, but then when I perform it, it's less natural than when I do improv. So I was wondering, how do you make it seem natural when you write jokes or scripts to make it seem like it's casual?
I'm a big believer, at least with Maintown, you know, I'm starting to find out that as I discover what that channel is going to be, it's a lot of DIY and things that I do have to plan ahead so I can physically have. I love prop comedy. And I can't just like conjure up a novelty-sized huge pencil. Like, I have to buy this. But so, if you know your sense of humor and you know what kind of jokes you're going to crack, just have the bullet points in your head. I mean, I think there's a happy medium between improvisation and scripting out all your content. Like, if you trust your sense of humor and you know just the dots of how to get there, just do a connect the dots kind of scripting and know that this would be a funny joke. I don't know how I'm going to deliver it, so I'll try it 5 times.
Can I tell you something disturbing on my script? It's bold and all caps font, and that's the jokes. And in the script, if I want it to look like I'm improvising or like casual or an aside to myself, it's in italics and it's low. So I know, so I kind of break the momentum of that, and it's in italics, like, oh, here's where you're going to kind of riff for a minute and then get back to the bold script bullet point.
Italics are so chill.
What do you do when Comic Sans?
Oh, God. You guys, how are you fun of me? I hate you. You got Trevor to the somersaults.
All right, we have a question from Ashley.
Hello, Mamrie, I just wanted to ask about the creative process behind the No Filter shows and how you guys kind of come up with the ideas. And I know there's maybe some like improv that goes on stage and how much you write and how much you don't.
Yeah, actually, it's changed as we've done it. The first round of No Filter shows we did with a lot more scripted out. Grace and I did like this 2-person band leader thing, and we scripted a whole bunch of it, but then we found that what people enjoyed the most were the improvisation, and the thing that we enjoy the most is fucking with the audience. So essentially, we come together, you know, a couple weeks before we're going to take the show on the road and just kind of each come with ideas and riff about it. Normally, the ideas we come with are totally different by the time, you know, we finish our drink, but just figuring out ways to improvise on stage while it's still feeling structured, because there's nothing I hate more than going to a comedy show and feeling like they don't know what they're doing, because I get very, very anxious. I'm one of those people who, if I watch TV and someone feels uncomfortable, I'll change the channel and then come back and check in to make sure they're okay. Like, I get really anxious for other people being nervous on stage, so we try to create ways to improvise while feeling like it's a safe place, so no one in the audience thinks that A, we're going to embarrass them, or B, we're going to embarrass ourselves, even though, I mean, that's just life.
All right, I have a question from Sarah. Can you say that?
This is also directed at Mametown. First of all, I have a gift for you, Grace. I'm going to give it to Cam to give to you later.
Thank you, bitch.
My question is, which do you prefer, like, working on more? Like, do you like writing the puns for Wydad, or like working on the more obscure stuff, like Tiny Mouth on Mametown?
I mean, puns are always going to be the love of my life. I kind of think of it like You Deserve a Drink is my sitcom. It's my 3-camera sitcom, and Mametown is my reality show. Holy fuck, Jonathan Taylor Thomas! Thank you. But I do have a background in sketch comedy, and you know, that's what I moved to New York, and that's what I did. So getting to try out new characters on Mametown is kind of the new exciting thing to me. It's not, I love doing You Deserve a Drink, but it is something that I've done for longer, so it's really exciting, and just getting to try out the weirdest stuff possible is pretty fun.
All right, question in the back. From Fez.
Hi, I have a specific question for all you guys. Which comedians or which writers inspired you to write?
Good question.
Really good question. Your inspiration.
You want to go down the line?
Yeah, hi. I'm here. When I first started YouTube, I mean, I don't really go into sort of like, you know, stand-up comedy or anything like that. I just literally vlog. So when I first started doing it, like, I did it because I love watching YouTubers like Dan's on Fire and Amazing Phil and Charlie's So Cool, like who, you know, it felt like the videos were planned out, but they still seemed so natural, and I really, really wanted to get to that point. But it took me like a year to get that confident and kind of be, you know, that sort of confident on camera. But yeah, they were the people I was watching when I first started. So.
My people that I love, I'm obsessed with Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman. I think Pee Wee's Playhouse is one of the most brilliant shows that were ever on television, and I just really love being an adult and also being a child simultaneously, and just the whole idea that silliness and wackiness isn't immature. It's really fun. I also love Amy Sedaris, Strangers with Candy. I really, really love when very attractive people make themselves look ugly. And then also currently, I really look up to Kristen Wiig. I think it's amazing that she's so good at character work and then can develop something, and it's so funny, but also such natural dialogue between women and Bridesmaids. So that's kind of like what I'm looking up to at the moment.
When I was growing up, the person who I looked up to and I wanted to be was an actor named John Ritter. So like when I was acting in it, like that was it, like the comedy, the weirdness, and the whatever. So I mean, John Ritter I was obsessed with. And then when I started doing what I was doing, it was kind of based on like The Soup and Joel McHale and the guy who did it before, Greg Kinnear, like just kind of sarcastic humor. So they were kind of who I was basing my persona on. Like currently though, the things I'm obsessed with and that are like keeping me wanting to be funny and creative really are Grace and Mamrie, because I went to do, and she, like what she said is when you see people who are funnier than you, your just eyes light up and you're like, oh my God, I want to be a small part of this world. I was their guest at the No Filter show, and
This might give your job in Boston.
Oh, yeah, that show. And so just to watch that, and like she was saying, they've got their thing, but they're writing, and they are drinking and planning and going. I mean, it was just so mesmerizing. And that's the thing, it's like, it's almost like you don't want to get lazy. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm doing the same thing. So you meet new people all the time who just you think are so funny. You just want to, I'm not going to copy them, but just I want the brand of humor tweaks in your brain, like, oh, I'm going to take a little from that. And right now I'm also obsessed with Lisa Kudrow, and I'm obsessed with Julia Louis-Dreyfus on Beat, because I'm like, if I could just steal a little of that character and put it into something I'm doing. So you just are always stealing from other people, you know?
Yeah, so I like really was inspired by Jad. I've run Carlos from Radio Lab, it's a radio show. But as for kind of humor and improv stuff, I Monty Python is just. It's kind of like the quirky silliness of that kind of good. And nowadays I really inspired by my friends Hart and CGP Grey because they do great writing.
Growing up, this is a true story, from age probably 6 to 15, it was way too long. The only albums I ever owned were Weird Al Yankovic albums.
Oh, yeah.
I think he opened the door to the world of comedy and music, comedy, and stuff like that for me, but what brought me into the world and made me take my first step into trying something was, Whose Line Is It Anyways? And then I kind of really looked up to Monty Python, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, the South Park guys. Saturday Night Live has always been a part of my life, and what I think it is that I love super intelligent people that aren't afraid to look stupid and do it so well and make a point while doing it. So those are mine.
I remember growing up, I loved Goldie Hawn. I remember a specific moment in Overboard where she goes, "I ate a bug," and I was obsessed with her because it was so natural and hilarious. So that was growing up one of my idols, and then currently Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Lena Dunham. I love people who have their own unique voices. Recently, I've been obsessed with Trailer Park Boys. Mike Gladberg is the writer. I love people who are different with their humor, and with what I watch, it varies. I'll watch someone who's so smart and sophisticated, and then I'll watch someone who's making fart jokes, and I'm like, I love them all. So I just love people who are themselves with their comedy.
All right, Michelle, that's a great segue to another question which I wanted to ask, which is on your voice. I'm over here now. So, how do you, Michelle, you mentioned voice. How do you develop,
The light was blinding me.
how do you develop your voice? A couple other people have mentioned this on the panel too. The voice for your Twitter, your YouTube videos is kind of how you come across. But how do you develop that? Do you say one day, I'm going to be, the person who is 50% Tina Fey, 30% this person, or do you just kind of develop it? How do you figure out your voice as a beginning creator?
I don't think you can just force it and say it. I think it's who you are. I think it's the way you interpret life and look at things, because everyone has a unique perspective. Everyone would look at something and think of a different joke to come up with it. So I think if you should just embrace your uniqueness, I think that will give you your voice with your comedy. And watch the people and study the people who you really think are funny and break it down. What is funny about this person? What are these jokes? Do I do that? And I think it's a lot of introspective thinking and looking at yourself and other people.
Yeah, I think you just really have to figure out who you are at the end of the day, because it is so exhausting to be anything but. And especially, let's say with your YouTube channel, if you're kind of faking it and not being true to what your normal personality is, let's say it gets successful, 2 years down the road, you're still having to fake it. And when I was growing up, when I was little, at the beginning of like every school year, like in elementary school, it was like, okay, this is who I'm gonna be. And then like 5 days later, when your back to school clothes run out, you're like, I'm just fucking Mamrie. You know what I mean? And all the kids are like, yeah, no, duh. We know you got a perm, but we've gone to school with you since kindergarten, idiot. Like, we know you didn't become British this summer. So, yeah, just figure out who you are and stick to it, because it is exhausting.
I love that you're saying that, because I swear to God, I'm not making this up, but every year, like maybe like in 8th grade, I'd get like a new pair of black pants and a red shirt and a different whatever, and I was right, and I had these delusions or whatever that I was going to show up and I was not going to be maybe gay, or I wasn't going to walk a certain way, and I went for about 3 days in, exactly, like, I'm just going to wear these, I'm not going to look like this until I was talking to like a deeper voice, like, hey guys, how was your summer? Like, the fourth day, I'm like, oh hey. Like 3 days and then you're done.
Alright, so be yourself. Alright, question from William.
This is more directed to Joe, but on SourceFed you guys do like 5 videos a day on like news that just comes out like that day. Do you guys write your own material, and like, or is there's like a big crew over at SourceFed that those like stuff?
For us, the process is, it's got to be pretty streamlined because we have to pump them out so quick, which is also good when you're wanting to figure out how to get stuff made. Deadlines are the best things ever. So for us at SourceFed, what we do is we get there at 6 in the morning, we research online, we find something, we read, we try to take in as much as we can, pump out a script in like an hour, shoot it, and then our editors are our saving grace, and that's why we try to keep it easy on their shoulders, because if we give them 20 minutes of footage, they're fucked. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wish it was more complicated, but it's one of those things that we were not very great at the beginning, but over time we got a lot better at it because we just kept doing it. And when it comes to developing your voice, going back to that, it's just something that happens over time. And you were saying your show and even developed as you were going. So yeah, that's it. That's the question.
And I mean, what he said about deadlines, I give myself fake deadlines, even though it's not due. It's like, you got to be done at 3 p.m. Otherwise, you'll just write. So I love deadlines, even if they're forced to understand.
Deadlines, and I give myself rewards. So it was like, I have writing deadlines. I'm working on a book, and so for the past 2 weeks, it was like, if I get that deadline done, I get all the season of Orange is the New Black on Tuesday. Like, I get rewards. I'm an owl.
So as you're writing, give yourself deadlines and awards to make sure it gets done. Some of you actually do multiple sorts of writing. You do vlogging, improv, maybe you're doing your movie script, and then you're also going on your trip. And then Joe, you do a combination of things. Is it easy to switch from, all right, I'm doing more improv today to I'm actually going to write and script out this movie or this segment? How does that work? Is it easy to just switch?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, they both have their benefits. It's really fun to be in front of the camera, and it's also really fun to be in bed with your dog and writing. So yeah, I think, again, if you're being true to your own voice, then there isn't really a switch. It's just if you're in front of the camera or in front of the computer. Yeah.
And this is from Lauren. Who's over there?
Oh,
We're getting all sorts of gifts. All right, so it's Mia. All right, Mia has a question.
I have a question. I'm Mia. You got that. I'm funny too.
Come on, stage. Let's go.
Yes. Idea of yes and I'd like to know, just from someone who is not necessarily wanting to be a performer, but I did take an improv class once with someone named Annie Surdich, who works with Groundlings, and I'm actually a little bit of an introvert. You wouldn't know that, but I am just a little bit, and it was really eye-opening, and so my best friend here is my best friend Megan, so we've been we're here because we've been trying to apply yes and to our lives. So my question is that good advice? Does it work? Could it take you too far? Or are there any boundaries? Or should you just yes and go? So that's my question.
Sounds dangerous. You get in a sticky situation if you yes and everything. No, but I think you can live that, use that as a guideline for most things with your career. I think it's great for everyone to come here and meet everyone and surround yourself with people that are doing what you're doing. I think that's a great yes and. I think even going to parties, even though if that's not your thing, maybe just do it and try it. And it's about meeting people and networking and learning from other people. I think that's the biggest thing that got me to where I am, is learning from other people. So I think you should yes and to be around other people that you can learn from. But don't yes and the scary people.
If you say yes, you get more yeses. In life, if you say yes to every opportunity that comes up, say yes. Because if you say no, you're just going to get a lot more no's, and it's not fun to get no's. So just say yes. Great when and in the YouTube world, so many opportunities come up, and it's wonderful. I think back to times when I would get an email, like, oh no, I'm busy, or no, I don't want to go to this, or no, and I'm like, I should have just said yes. So I just always think you should always just say yes.
Mm-hmm. And also, a lot of people, like this, come here and, being an introvert, people say, well, it's out of my comfort zone. But like, your comfort zone doesn't have to be set in place. And every time you go outside of your comfort zone gets a little bit bigger. And as far as doing improv and just applying it to normal life, I think it's awesome that you do that, and you don't necessarily want to be a comedian. There was a hot minute in New York where one of my multiple jobs I was juggling was actually trying to get businesses to do improv workshops, to set that up. And it was really funny to see bankers to be like, but at the end of the day, say they had fun, and it's both great to step outside your comfort zone, build your comfort zone a little bigger, and also just working as a team.
And Yes And is about idea development. You start with something small and the hope is that you add to it and it gets bigger and you discover new things. So in the world of improv, that's how you enrich a scene. So if you take that and you apply that to your life, you're going to enrich your life. You're going to try new things. You're going to find out new things about yourself. So yes and everything. And eventually maybe you'll yes and kill a man.
All right, question from Lizzie.
Yeah, but then when they come for you, you say no.
Hi. My question is about script writing, because I've been vlogging for a while, and I've finally gotten to the point where I can start making, more fictional, like writing stories rather than just talking. So my question is, how do you write a script? Because I've tried it before and I got 8 pages in and got distracted. So.
Take a class, read the books, study it. It's not, it's like any other skill set. I feel like you can't just immediately go up there and do it. I mean, a lot of people be like, oh, you're funny. You just got in front of the camera. It's like, no, I fucking did comedy for 7 years. In basements where I begged people to come, you know what I mean? And annoyed my friends to come to my shows. You have to train yourself, you can't go and be a freak. And also, if you live in a...
All right, next question.
I was just going to add that I think it's important that we use both sides of our brains as well, because we all are super creative. I'm sure everyone in this room is here because they're creative and they make YouTube videos. But there is an importance to being business and structure-minded when you're writing a script. You can't just let it all flow and expect people to understand what that story is. So yeah, you have to kind of channel both of those mindsets, and you can do them at different times. Maybe you just write, freely write, stream of consciousness, and then you should come back and structure it and make it more concise. But I think it's important that we both utilize both sides of your brains.
All right, question from Ryan.
Hello, hey. You'll notice I'm wearing the same shirt from yesterday. Hi, I'm Ryan. We make a show called Wish It Eat.
Ryan, sit down. That's a great show, actually. Yeah.
So this is my boyfriend Nick. He's also my writer. Wondering how I got that job. Question is, we have Wish It is a narrative show. It's a 12-minute, 12-part series. It takes some months to write and do pre-production. We raised the Kickstarter last year. It's a big, long process, and we've been told by our network that it's almost too long. People are looking for the short stuff. And people watch Game of Thrones like crazy. And people still watch long content. So my question is about not the procedure, but the format. Do you see people on YouTube being open to longer format style stuff? Because people say YouTube can be anything, but I keep hearing people say, oh, just super short and 1 minute, this and that. And we love what we do, but I don't want to change it. But I don't see as many people doing the long format stuff. So
I would say there's definitely opportunity for long format stuff. When you look at something like Video Game High School or the Red Letter Media Star Wars reviews, there's things that people watch that are really long. I mean, Hart did a 30-minute video. She normally does 2-minute videos, and people watch it all the way through. And the main thing that is the feature of these longer form content is that there's actually that much kind of content and engaging stuff that's in it. So if you have 30 minutes of stuff to say and 30 minutes of exciting action and you keep people engaged, then you can make something that's 30 minutes long. But I would say the worst thing to do is to say, I want to make a 30-minute thing, but you actually only have 15 minutes of content and then it's 15 minutes of boring. Or actually it's 30 minutes of boring because you stretch it out. So if you have 15 minutes, make it 15 minutes long. That's one of the great things about the web is that you don't have to fit into this TV show. It has to be 22 minutes or 44, whatever it is. You can make it exactly as long as it needs to be interesting and to be engaging and to be awesome.
All right, Louis has a question.
It's hard to find. Brothers do with their sitcom, they splice it up, so it's they air it, here's 26 minutes if you want to watch the sitcom version, then here's 4 minutes, 5 minutes for the people who don't want to watch the whole thing. So you could do that too. You could splice it up, here's my bit, and then let people have it in 4-minute increments too, or something. You could
Okay, Louis has a question.
This is about vlogging. When you improvise, you want to talk about your personal life too when you're talking about issues. What's the limit about your personal life that you put yourself, I don't want to talk about this, or people are not going to care about this? What's the limit of talking about your personal life?
Like your exes? Or whatever?
I think someone...
Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to have a point. No, I didn't mean to be here. life online. I mean, I try very, very consciously to not become like a caricature of myself. I try really hard to be as close to a person as someone on YouTube with a series can be. Which is why most people don't follow me on Twitter, because I'm just ranting about all sorts of shit all day. But yeah, same thing. But like this, like I said in my videos, like everyone's like, oh, you're so sassy and all that. I really just probably woke up in a really bad mood that morning. You know, people say that they watch me for me. So in terms of personal life, I like put everything out there except for probably just my relationship, and maybe like really like personal family history. Because when it comes to like with relationships and stuff, like if my boyfriend and I broke up, all I would see is, why did you and your boyfriend break up? Oh, you guys seem so cute. And then, you know, that makes you feel like 100 times fucking worse when you've broken up with someone. Like, did you get back together? Yeah, I fucking know. You know, that sort of thing. So when it comes to something that's really personal that I think would upset me in the long run, that's the sort of stuff that I like keeping private. I think there are a lot of people, the downside to that is that I put so much out there online as my personal life. People are like, we share everything else, why don't you share this? And it's kind of a mixed bag. Like it has its good sides and its downsides. But I mean, apart from that, literally maybe like really personal family history and my current relationship, everything else is just online. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm comfortable in front of a camera and just saying like, I went through shit as a teenager, or I did this. I don't have a problem with that, because like I said, I don't see me as a character. You know, like what I am right now is kind of like I am on camera, and that's what I aim for from the beginning. So. A little tiny bit for me, you know.
Yeah, for myself personally, I do comedy, and I don't want people watching my stuff and wondering who I'm dating, or, you know, very personal things. I want them to watch it for the comedic value. I mean, I think what happens to a lot of celebrities is, you know, you're watching a movie. So let's say you're watching Cameron Diaz. Who's she dating? Who fucking cares? But so if I'm watching The Other Woman and I'm like, oh, is she dating Benjamin? Like it breaks that fourth wall, and you're thinking about personal lives as opposed to the content.
Your acting is so amazing, you're not thinking that's Cameron Diaz anyway.
So for me personally, I'm totally myself on camera, but I think the personal stuff I shy away from only because I don't want you thinking about that instead of thinking about that amazing fart joke I just said.
All right, question from Malia in the back.
Okay, so how do you break your writer's block, and how do you turn off the voice in your head that's like, no one is gonna think this is funny? Yeah. I think we would writer's block right now.
I don't know, but the first one is, I think those are two very different questions.
Yeah.
The second one, I think, for me, is a lot easier to like say, because that's part of it. Is like, you just have to learn how to get yourself into it has to do with a safe space, like getting to a place where you can just like everything, any idea that you have, like you almost have to tell yourself like, I'm gonna take this idea, and it's like pull it out, and like the thread will come out, and the whole sweater might come undone. But whatever you do, if you have something that's there, you go for it, and it's because there's no shame when you're doing something like alone in a room in front of a camera, and you're not on live TV, you're not in front of your friends, it's you and your computer, you and your camera. And so that's the point where you kind of have to remember that at some point people are going to see this, but only if you.
I just recommend watching and consuming the things that really inspire you. So if you're working on a movie and you just like can't get into the groove of it, watch the movies that you think are really funny and that you wish you'd written.
And take a shower. And you say you wrote something in the bath? Yes.
Yeah.
There's a whole book about how your best ideas come in the shower, in the bath, on an airplane, because all of your senses are. So it's amazing. You'll be in the shower and you're like, I just have the best. I literally have a writing pad in my shower because I don't want to drip out to my whatever. But I'm always writing, and on my iPad I have a blank document. On my computer I have a blank document. And it's like, this is a file for like whatever ideas. This is whatever. I'm gonna have a million jokes all the time. So it's like I'm always writing them down. Right? You might never see them, but I'm always just thinking. But
the right-brained activities.
Yeah.
You're not thinking. You're not even processing what you're doing. You're on pilot in the shower. Everyone, I hope, is on autopilot in the shower. I don't know if I have a list of what you need to wash, but
take showers in the bath. Take showers in the bath. I just got the 5-minute. I just the 5-minute sign, so why don't we go to speed round, where if you can ask your question in less than 140 words, and if you could answer it very shortly in about a tweet. All right, we can speed round. Can you stand up?
140 words.
All right, 140 characters?
Yes.
140 words. 140 characters.
All right. First of all, somebody needs to, give me the number for, insanity, because I just found the best exercise in the world. Raising
I saw you. You held it the whole time.
instant muscle. Anyways, right here. You're going to my vlog, by the way.
Thank you for dressing up.
Thank you. When you guys have great ideas and you pitch them to your friends and they're not as hype as you are, how do you feel? Do you feel like maybe it's not a good idea, or you're like, do you know who I am? I'm gonna do it anyways. How do you react to that? Do you feel negative or do you feel positive?
Everyone has their own opinion on everything in life. People up here might not think the things I think are funny, but you have to do what you think is funny at the end of the day, because that's what makes you happy.
I think you know yourself better than anybody. I mean, I've had things where I've shown ideas to my friends and they've gone, yeah, that's right. And I'm just like, fuck you, look where I am. So, that sounds really bad, but you do know yourself better than anybody. I mean, you are the person in front of the camera and behind, well, in my case, behind the camera as well. You know what is funny in your head. And like I said, I make videos that I find funny, and by stroke of luck, other people find them funny too. That's a bonus for me. But I started because, hey, I'm hilarious, and yeah.
All right, Francesca.
Oh, never mind.
Francesca, yeah. I think this is pretty responsible because the answers might be a little bit long to this, but doing improv for so long, I've learned that half of it is success and the other half of it is failure. So have you had a really big moment of just, oh God, why did I do that? Or a moment where you're like, oh my God, that worked. So do you have a story of one or the other?
I mean, I've eaten shit on stage constantly, where you go out and it's just this is going to be the longest 20 minutes of my life. So, I don't know. I mean, it's different with video because you could always take it down if you needed to, but the flops on stage last forever.
I was never good when you have to stand up and say 185 people walk into a bar and tell a joke, and all my friends who did it, they were so Pickles here, he was supposed to make a pun or a joke or something, and I could never do it. I was never going to tell a good 185 people walk into a bar joke, and I was always uncomfortable.
That one you would have said, do you have any dills?
I just got the 1-minute card, so if each of the panelists can just say really quickly the top 1 or 2 pieces of advice. If you had great advice all throughout, but the 1 or 2 pieces of advice to these aspiring and awesome content creators. Go.
Make content as often as you can and make mistakes as often as you can.
Nice. Someone tweet these, by the way. #VidCon.
That, you're doing this to make yourself happy. You're doing it because it excites you, so keep doing it. Make yourself happy first, and people are going to follow it. I call it the jackass syndrome. Have fun, and people will fall in love with you having fun.
Do what you like to do, and hopefully other people like it too.
Same. Yes, just be brave, be yourself. You're all running and scaring me. Mamrie,
Sit down!
Was this planned?
1 second, we gotta finish the panel.
Guys, I give great advice. Everyone shut up. I would say, do what you think is funny. I am my favorite comedian.
I think literally, ideas can come from anywhere, so always carry something with you, even a phone with a notepad or something. I'll come up with an idea in my head at 2 o'clock in the morning before I go to sleep, and I'll jot something down, wake up in the morning, and it's just spaceship toilet roll. What did that mean? But just stay creative, I think that's what it is.
Awesome. Before everyone comes to the stage, let's just do a group photo where we just look out and smile. This will be the social media, why they tweeted what, so we're not glued up for conversation. All right, ready? Go! Take pictures.